Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
Kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampadah Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampadah Shatru buddhi vinashaya Deepajyotirnamostute Deepajyotirnamostute Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampadah Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampadah.
The blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's sessions. Today, we are commemorating International Rock Day, which is being celebrated on July 13th every year, which is dedicated to paying tribute to the rocks. And it's not just about extravagant rock music and rock concerts with guitar and a raving audience. We are talking about literal rocks, not that rock music. Rocks are not simply rocks that are the rocks you know fall in three categories: igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. So the study of rocks is known as geology. If you are a budding geologist and looking to pursue similar science, then you can pursue geology and become a geologist. And if you are already a geology student or have studied geology, then it's the right day for you. Technically, a rock is naturally occurring solid aggregate of one or more minerals or mineraloids. Rocks cover the entire Earth. In fact, the Earth's outer solid layer, the lithosphere, is made up of rock and has been put to use by humans throughout history. Rocks may not seem very important to people, but they are essential for the very survival of the humans. Rocks played a part in the human evolution that we are experiencing today. So International Rock Day is a special day to commemorate and celebrate and honor this very essence of life. The main aim of the International Rock Day is to raise global awareness about the importance of rocks and encourage people around the world to learn more about rocks. There are three basic types of rock, as we have seen. Igneous rocks, which start deep within the earth as magma or molten rock. Sedimentary rocks, which are weathered into fragments that are carried away by water, wind, and ice. And metamorphic rocks, which are essentially igneous or sedimentary rocks that have changed by heat and pressure. At a granular level, rocks are usually composed of grains of minerals, which in turn are homogeneous solids formed from chemical compounds. Unfortunately, there is no solid history behind the creation of International Rock Day, and the origin of the creator of this day remain unknown. Nonetheless, this day needs to be celebrated because of the usefulness of rocks to mankind. The rocks are found to be useful. Human beings began to use stones as weapons and utensils since 40,000 BC. So the birth of the Stonehenge site is constructed as a medium to connect the human and the divine around 2500 BC. The lunar crew lands on the moon and then comes back to Earth, bringing back moon rocks in 1969. The people across the world start to show interest in collecting rocks and minerals since 2010s, and the people suddenly became fond of rocks. Rocks consist of a collection of minerals that are formed from other materials, and they do not contain DNA as we living beings have. According to the science, any rock can become any another or other. In a way, rocks can be formed from fragments of other rocks. They can even be formed from remains of plants or animals. No living things are defined by a set of characteristics, including the ability to reproduce, grow, move, breathe, adapt, and respond to their environment. So, based on this, rock is a non-living thing. So, this is a day to celebrate and share, spread the word, creating awareness about the different types of rocks and how they have formed and shaped the evolution of humans. Let's research different types of rocks available across the globe. Not only this is educational, but it is also a fun way to spend the day. You can also organize a rock painting party with your friends and family, or rock climbing. All you need to do is grab a rock, wash off the dirt, and start painting it. And use only organic colors, and don't spoil the beauty if you are, using some good monuments or rock sites. Because preserving the beauty is also our responsibility. Rocks are dated according to eras using a time scale division, dividing the Earth's history. So rocks and time scale. A variety of rock types and sediments have been found on the Mars, similar to rocks on Earth. So other planets also have rocks. A shooting star is actually just a bit of space rock entering the Earth's atmosphere. Ores are rocks containing metals like gold, silver, etc. So most gold mine returns to the Earth as most of it's buried in subterranean bank vaults. That's how gold returns to Earth. So it is a day to spread awareness about the importance and benefits of rocks. We can also spread the awareness that rocks are a significant part of human evolution. It also encourages people to research and learn more about the rocks. People might go out on a rock exploration and also get a fresh breath of life. One of the wonderful things we can take home from this day is not only rocks are cool, but they can also bring like-minded people together. Today is also commemorated as National Barber Shop Music Appreciation Day in US. It is an yearly event to celebrate barbershop music, a style of voice only a cappella style music. This is not to be confused with another barbershop themed event, National Barbershop Quartet Day. People of all ages, genders, and nationalities come together to perform at various public or private events, singing melodies across genres. In a pop culture world, this day is a little slice of nostalgic beauty and authenticity combined. So by 1830s, the music has found its way to America as the local barbershops were preferred haunts for local men, and barbershop music became the music of the nation. African American culture and their traditional music took this style of music to another level. Folk songs and hymns were sung in 4 parts, leading to the barbershop music distinctive style being established. However, the music only hit in the strides in 1900s, becoming insanely popular by 1940s. However, the only official organization singing these songs was all male. So the women husbands were part of the Male Barbershop Music Society, Society for the Preservation and Encouragement of Barbershop Quartet singing in America, were particularly inspired. They had first-hand experience of how much fun this style of music could be. So on July 13, 1945, Edna Mae Anderson invited the voice of other members to her home in Tulsa, Oklahoma for a singing season. And the Sweet Adelines was born on that very day. Today, the organization is one among many barbershop music groups popularizing the style of music across America and the globe. Traditional songs are still sung, although barbershop music now includes more current styles of music, including pop, rock, and show tunes to attract a younger audience. So on March 23rd, 1953, the US-based barbershop music group opens its first branch outside America. In Canada, they later changed their name to reflect their new member base, becoming Sweet Adelines International in 1991. A Broadway musical, The Music Man, features a very famous barbershop quartet of musicians called the Buffalo Bills. They helped make barbershop singing a household name in 1957. So the American sports film, Hoosiers, features a barbershop quartet singing the national anthem before a game. This tradition continues in real life too, before various basketball and football games since 1986. The Sweet Adelines International marks 60th anniversary of its founding by creating Barbershop Music Appreciation Day in 2005. As already mentioned, Barbershop Quartet Day celebrates birth of one of the world's foremost barbershop groups, the Barbershop Harmony Society, on April 11th. This is another similar day that is being commemorated. The barbershop music became increasingly popular in 1900s, especially in the period between 1900 to 1990. The polkas are a set of songs all barbershop singers around the world learn to properly show off barbershop songs, chords, and arrangements. The Sweet Adelines Women-Only Group is one of the largest such organizations in the world, boasting nearly 21,000 members globally. It includes famous jazz musician Louis Armstrong, who joins the ranks of celebrities Bing Crosby, Al Johnson, Eddie Cantor, Groucho Marx, and Abbott, and Costello, and many more. In 1992, American computer scientist Nathal Borsten emailed a picture and audio clip of his barbershop quartet, the telephone cords, to his colleagues, making them the first email attachments in the world. The oversized mustaches, striped jackets, and straw hats linked to the style of music came from the old form of theater entertainment called vaudeville. Apparently, they wore these eye-popping clothes so people could use them. So this style is defined by its vocal harmonization without instruments. And so all barbershop music is a cappella, but a cappella music can across genres and styles is not necessarily only barbershop music. Today is also commemorated as National Beans and Franks Day in US. It's a basic dish where frankfurters are used. It has been used as a comfort food for years and is normally served as casual atmosphere. So it is a perfect day, ideal to bake a beanie dish for lunch or dinner. Baked beans debuted in United States, happening back to the civil rights movement. However, exact origins of the idea of combining sausages and baked beans remain uncertain. This food combo was available in cans in 1980s. Baked bean dates back to the US Civil War and were among the earliest canned convenience meals to appear in the US. Van Camp holds the trademark for beanie, and produces a canned version. Other brands such as Franks and Beans are sold under different names. In the canned food sector, Gilbert Van Camp is regarded as a trendsetter. He began experimenting with canning in 1862, and by 1863 he was successful preserving fruits and vegetables for the winter. Soon after, he landed a lucrative contract to supply Union troops during the Civil War when his beans became a popular dish. As a result, Van Camp Packing Company was formed in 1882, and his son Frank Van Camp is credited with inventing the now famous beans in tomato sauce dish in 1894. By 1898, the Van Camp Packaging Company produced 6 million cans per year. Indiana had become the national biggest producer of canned baked beans by 1909. So thanks to the Van Camp family enterprises, the Franks are chopped into bite-sized pieces before being put into the beans. While beans and Franks are considered a single phrase, Van Camp's owned the beanie trademark. The origins of this holiday are still a mystery. So how long do you need to boil hot dogs to get the best out of it? You should boil at least 4 to 6 minutes uncovered. The term weenies was most likely inspired by the German short, long, and thin dogs. Baked beans are good for you. Protein, fiber, and other nutrients are very common in baked beans. So you can make up your own recipe for beans and Franks. So don't forget to share it with the rest of us if it turns out to be fantastic as you plan. A regular 14.6 oz can of Heinz beans contains around 465 beans. And John Lerman of New York holds the world record for eating 6 pounds of baked beans in 1 minute and 48 seconds. A 9.1 oz dish of beans with Franks has 359 calories. There are correct and incorrect ways to consume a hot dog. The world's most expensive hot dog was sold for $169 in Seattle, Washington in 2014. Beans and Franks is a crowd pleaser since it combines two of everyone's favorite foods, that is, baked beans and hot dogs. It's ultimate comfort food in America. We need to dispel the misconception that nutritious eating isn't tasty. This day serves as a reminder that you can eat nutritious meals without sacrificing flavor. We all speak the same language when it comes to wonderful meals. Beans, regardless of locales, are a cultural meal. This day is a terrific opportunity to explore new recipes from different parts of the world. Today is also commemorated as Embrace Your Geekness Day. It's time to dust off your wizarding robes, collect those poke balls, and charge up your lightsabers. No fan is greater or more creative than that of any fantasy land. So that today is about embracing your love for your favorite fandoms. Your geekness is being rewarded by the other teens around the world. Once upon a time, geekiness may have been something popularly frowned upon, a time that self-proclaimed nerds would shutter away their comic books and wizarding capes in the hopes that they wouldn't live to see another day when their glasses needed taping. And while geekness may have been a social taboo in the past, today it has become a symbol of creativity and passion. The term geek was used to refer to the circus performers in the Victorian age. Before that, a geek was simply a freak, as used to be in the English language, or a fool in German. These oddballs were put on display in traveling geek shows and circuses, where they would eat the hand off of a live chicken or snake. It wasn't until the mid to late 20th century that the term geek arose as we know it today. Someone who is fantastic about the fantasy worlds of superheroes and or other magic, and while those are openly geekish, used to be victims of swirlies and being shoved into lockers today. The term has become popularity and warmly embraced as more and more people reveal themselves to be ever a little So you don't have to have a costume to embrace your geekness. Grab some cards or memorabilia or even your favorite movies. You can host a movie watch party with themed food or just fly solo, enjoying your favorites on your own. Today is also commemorated as Fool's Paradise Day. It is a day to forget the worst sides of reality and embrace the fantasy world of our thoughts. To normalize this and assert importance of having happy place to go when things get dark and out of hand. A fool's paradise is made up of world we can imagine, a world where we can find eternal happiness. While people might make fun of such thoughts as childish and naive, Fool's Paradise Day is a day to embrace such a paradise and try to find happiness amidst of all tension and pressure of real world. So why do we exist? We may say that humans are not yet evolved enough to understand such an intrinsic question. But that does not mean we should not ponder over it. What we are, what is our purpose, and who made us are a few questions each of us asked at some point in our lives. We are not sure if answers will be found in our lifetime. So we like to dismiss such complex questions by remarking that the purpose of our entire life is to find answers to those questions. But that may not be the entire purpose. So when it comes to the matter of purpose, the first thing that comes to mind is happiness. We do everything for happiness. Air, water, food, and shelter are important. Being happy is being happy is as important in it. Happiness is an emotion. It is a state of mind filled with contentment and satisfaction. We don't usually believe that true happiness can ever be achieved. Life seems as stated before, happiness is a state of mind. We can train our minds to find happiness in our thoughts. That is the origin of the fool's paradise. In our quest to find true happiness, we rest in our own thoughts as we define the parameters of our own happiness. With our imagination, we can create a paradise in our thoughts, a happy place where we can have everything we ever wanted and needed. So take a day off to create such a world inside your mind and enjoy some time pondering your adventure in the fantasy land. Today is also commemorated as Gruntled Workers' Day. It is founded to celebrate all that is positive about one's work or job. If Friday nights are your night to get together with pals or co-workers and vent out your job, Gruntled Workers' Day is for you, as it can spur you on to reflect on your work and make meaning out of it for yourself. If there's absolutely nothing to like, why not make a bold step and change something? In a world with growing dissent and job dissatisfaction, Gruntled Workers' Day can serve as a powerful reminder that all workers has meaning and purpose to it. So much as the fulfillment we can find in our work is actually a choice. So not only do satisfied employees impact productivity and therefore the overall revenue of the organization, but it also helps build values like loyalty, trust, conviction, which will help with building an overall positive work culture. Satisfied employees can rely upon to stand by each other and to provide company with good reputation. Job satisfaction is defined as the extent to which employee feels self-motivated, content, and satisfied with his or her job. Job satisfaction happens when an employee feels or she is having job instability, career growth, and a comfortable work-life balance. So some surveys have revealed that the five key components of job satisfaction are engagement, respect, praise and recognition, fair compensation, motivation, and overall life satisfaction. So respect in your workplace is crucial to maintaining good working relationships. It's no wonder Aretha Franklin found it is a worthy topic to sing about. So respect your boss and co-workers. Operate on the basis of personal integrity, and others will not fail to notice you for it and maybe even follow your lead. If a potential conflict arises, create a forum wherein a discussion can take place rather than creating drama. List can be in any form or structure you choose, but the idea is to have the list visible to remind you of the importance and purpose behind your work. The importance of enough rest has been proven to directly to the plate. So this month is also commemorated as bank account bonus month and beans month and bereaved parents awareness month, bioterrorism and disaster education awareness month, God blood awareness month, on month, eggplant month, and many more. We will see a few of them. So we have seen beans. Today is also Beans Day. And an entire month has been kept aside to celebrate this humble food that can be eaten in many ways. Delicacies can be made by boiling, simmering, and currying beans, which can be served either hot or cold. Beans are usually served for breakfast, but it's not unusual to include a side beans in your lunch or dinner either. Rich in nutrients, easy to cook, and delicious, beans make for a wholesome food ingredient. It's a common ingredient in English, French, Mexican, and Italian cuisines. Today in America, baked beans are usually made with a type of haricot bean known as navy beans, which are commonly found in South America. Orthodox Christians started tinning baked beans since cooking was prohibited during the Sabbath, and they could simply eat previously cooked beans for Sunday supper. As is with any recipe, baked beans too change their form and flavor as they move from one community to the other. People played around with this type of beans and used significant different fruits and vegetables to make the sauce. The first canned beans came about 18th century when the H.J. Heinz company started canning them for long shelf life. Baked beans arrived in the UK as a luxury item, but gradually became a regular feature on the English plate. Beans Month was started by the Michigan Bean Commission to get more and more people to enjoy the delicacy. So thanks to its great taste and many nutritional qualities, people around the world have warmed up to the beans in their daily diets. Beans are a great source of fiber Fiber helps keep you regular and seems to protect against heart disease, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and digestive illness. Whole beans need their vines to grow. They produce for a month or two if you keep harvesting. So the obvious way to commemorate or celebrate is including beans in your meals. Add it to your breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or even snack on it when you're hungry. There are so many types of beans: kidney, garbanzo, pinto beans, and many more. So find out the beans that are usually eaten in your community. Switch up your regular baked beans by experimenting with the recipe. Try a new kind of bean or sauce and serve it with your favorite bread on the side. And beans are believed to bring good luck for newly wed couples in Nicaragua. National Bean Day is celebrated each year on January 6th, and beans are also used to make jewelry, furniture, beanbag chairs, toys, and musical instruments, as they are very versatile. The world's largest bean pods can grow up to 5 feet long, and beans have been cultivated by the humans for more than 6,000 years. Today is also commemorated as Bereaved Parents Awareness. This month is commemorated as Bereaved Parents Awareness Month. It is dedicated to raising awareness about the grief parents go through after the unfortunate loss of a child and the kind of support needed to overcome this unimaginable grief. It's common knowledge that parents should not have to outlive their children. The thought is so painful that the many of us avoid the topic because even though most of us haven't experienced it, we know it's one of the worst things that can happen to a person. But it is during the difficult time that the people most affected by the tragedy, the parents, must know that they are loved and supported. For a lot of people, it can be difficult to talk openly about their grief. Many of them feel that it is too personal or too private. Even though talking about the events that cause grief is crucial to recovery, people are hesitant in talking about it. It is an universally accepted fact that parents to recovery should not have to bury their children. So the pain is immeasurable and parents carry this grief with them throughout their lives. But even in these darkest of the times, it is important to remember that you are not alone. Whenever you look for help, you will always find communities of people, parents and others who will be there for you and support you. It is for this reason we observe Bereaved Parents Awareness Month. It exists to provide support to parents who have lost their children, but its other aim is to raise awareness about how parents have suffered the loss of a child. Not only does it enable bereaved parents to find resources and support to overcome their grief, but it also seeks to provide information to others, including family, friends, and relatives, on how they can help parents overcome their loss. Social support becomes more important than ever during the times of grief. Even if you feel uncomfortable at first or are unsure of how to console a bereaved parent, try to at least be there for them. Even something as simple as being a good listener can be extremely comforting. So do not say things like time heals all wounds and let's go and move on. Everything happens for a reason. God works in mysterious ways. Also avoid sentences that start with at least and be thankful everything else. Your other children are fine. There is no such word in English language for parents who have lost a child, but there is a Sanskrit word, viloma, which means against the natural order and is sometimes used to refer a parent who has lost a child. So reach out to a family, friends and communities, build around this issue of support. Look for professional therapists, counselors, social workers, and take care of your mental health. Seeking help or even talking about the tragedy can be hard at first, but it's an important step towards healing. Offer support, stick together, and each death leaves behind an average of 4 or 5 mourners. And for most people, extreme feelings of grief began to go away after 6 months of tragedy. And people caring for someone with a long-term illness might begin their grieving process while loved one is still alive. Studies have found that in 2 years after a death, the most reported symptom is yearning for a person who is gone. Research has found that if symptoms of grief aren't fading away by 6 months after the loss, it may be a sign of more serious problem called complicated grief. So many people who have experienced the death of a child find it hard to talk about the child. People often avoid mentioning the person's name or even talking about it as they think it can cause pain to the mourners, but sharing feelings always helps overcoming grief. By the age 70, 15% of the American parents have lost a child, which is a greater number than many of us would have assumed. Bereavement affects a lot of parents around the world, and although they might get better with time, they always appreciate any support. Today is also commemorated as Bioterrorism, Disaster Education and Awareness Month in US. When it comes to the unexpected, whatever advantage you have over it might be the only hope of living uninjured or at the very least being able to fight another day. There are many different types of disasters. We never know when calamity will come, but we always have to be prepared. Preparations have taken ahead of time long before widespread disorder and terror size a country, region, or beyond, boosting your odds of survival, making a strategy for your family reaction. The origins of bioterrorism, disaster reduction, and awareness month are unknown, but thing is certain, the month's goal is to increase preparation, awareness, and educate public in the event of a disaster. Bioterrorism assault is the international release of viruses, bacteria, or other agents against an adversary to cause sickness or death in humans and plants. A disaster can be either natural or artificial and inflict severe physical damage or devastation. Both are exceedingly hazardous. In reality, bioterrorism can refer to various occurrences, including chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear and explosive disasters, or CBRNE. In short, chemical spills, a nuclear power plant mishap, an aerosolized biological agent, an explosion, or even a naturally occurring disease, epidemic, all are CBRNE incidents. Mother Nature has a role in majority of disasters, whether you are dealing with the heavy rains and high sustained winds of a hurricane or the out of control devastation of a wildfire. One reality means constant. You have the power to be prepared. Let us not forget the bioterrorism has happened in the United States, and some instances are anthrax incidents in 2001, which had the entire country on the edge and terrified. More recently, during one of his tenure, President Obama and numerous US senators received mail poisoned with resin. While bioterrorism attempts within the country have been confined and efficiently suppressed, the psychological impact of the prospect and beginning of bioterrorism has the potential to cripple the entire country. The threat to bioterrorism is serious and ever-present. The German army creates anthrax, glanders, cholera, and wheat fungus exclusively for use as biological weapons during World War I in 1900s. President Jimmy Carter establishes the organization through an executive order to manage any calamity that strikes the United States, which is Emergency Management Agency, in 1979. After the 9/11 attack, the anthrax case becomes one of the worst bioterrorism catastrophes in the United States, with 5 Americans killed and 17 sickened in 2001. The COVID-19 pandemic, commonly known as the coronavirus pandemic, strikes the whole world, causing severe acute respiratory difficulties, resulting in millions of deaths. So it is the second pandemic in the 21st century. So letters spiked with anthrax began circulating in the United States mail shortly after 9/11 terrorist attacks. In what became the deadliest biological assault in US history, 5 Americans were murdered and 17 were sickened. So biological catastrophes are natural events, including widespread sickness, impairment of death among humans, animals, and plants due to microorganisms such as bacteria, viruses, or poisons. So put on clean clothing after washing yourself with soap and water. Contact the authorities and seek medical attention. You may be recommended to isolate yourself or perhaps quarantine. If your symptoms resemble those listed and you are in risk category, get emergency medical assistance immediately. That's how you deal with the biological threat. Most of the time, local healthcare professionals will notice a trend of uncommon disease or a surge of sick persons requiring emergency medical assistance. The easiest thing is to prepare an emergency supply for your family. In case of biological assault, public health experts may not be able to give rapid advice on what to do. If the first signs of an assault appear, you should use a face mask to avoid inhaling or spreading the gaseous elementary mercury. Raise preparation awareness and educate the public in the event of disaster using offline and online programs, social media. For the past 20 years, heart disease has been leading cause of mortality worldwide, which makes its #1 cause of deaths. In 1816, volcano dust from an Indonesian eruption traveled so far that its effects reached Canada and the United States, resulting in an extremely severe winter and widespread starvation. An entire year has gone without summer. Almost half of the Europe was slain by the Black Death, the #1 deadliest plague. The first pandemic of 21st century occurred between 2009 and 2010 and was caused by the influenza A and H1N1 virus. That marks the influenza pandemic in H1N1. During the Sino-Japanese War between 1937 and 1945, a unit of Imperial Japanese Army experimented on thousands of Chinese people, testing biological weapons on Chinese troops and civilians. So the goal of bioterrorism, disaster education, and awareness month is to protect people. By providing them with the materials and skills they need to defend themselves, we would also lose fewer lives if more people understood what to do in the event of a biological attack. You are a true hero for preparing yourself and your loved ones. We may learn from the past disasters all year, but dedicating a day to thinking about ways to lessen the risk of the disaster can truly make a difference. This will also enhance the level of response in an emergency. When someone gains information, it becomes their societal obligation to share it with their society. In this manner, an increasing number of individuals may study and prepare to deal with the biological attack. This month is also commemorated as Cord Blood Awareness Month and serves the purpose of educating people and raising awareness regarding the importance of cord blood. It is the blood and tissue that is derived from the placenta and the baby's umbilical cord. Over time, doctors have realized how essential this blood is. Hence, an extra effort is put into spreading awareness regarding the cord blood advantages. Today, cord blood is used across the world to cure numerous diseases, making it a natural wonder that can only be obtained from the miracle of birth. This month, save lives by doing all that you can do, spread awareness regarding cord blood. So with about 4 million births in US each year and with so many babies being born, the hospitals must have a large amount of cord blood saved, right? No, it's wrong. While the statistics for the births may be high, cord blood is collected only 5 to 10% of the time. The rest of the time, it is discarded as medical waste. This is mostly because lack of awareness regarding cord blood procedures as well as the benefits it can provide for the mankind, and also the costs involving in preserving and saving the cord blood. This is also why July was declared Cord Blood Awareness Month by the Office of Disease Prevention and Health Promotion. Though the umbilical cord blood stem cells were discovered in 1978, the first transplant did not happen until 1988. From there, the medical history, as we know, is completely evolved. Doctors became aware of the use of cord blood and began to research the diseases it can cure, which include leukemia, blood diseases, Alzheimer's, as well as immune disorders. It was also discovered that the cord blood was more effective than a bone marrow transplant. Therefore, it's not a surprise that more and more people are opting for cord blood transplants every year. As clinical trials continue to find out more benefits of the cord blood and the diseases it can help heal, the popularity of the transplant continues to surge. In fact, athletes such as Rafael Nadal and football legends such as Cristiano Ronaldo and David Beckham has opted for umbilical cord stem cells to treat sports injuries. So the diseases that cord blood can treat include immune disorders, certain cancers, blood disorders, and etc. Cord blood can be stored for over 23.5 years. Cord blood banking is covered by medical insurance if one can prove it is being used for the treatment in the US. So to be a part of the process of cord blood transplant, volunteer at a hospital where there is cord blood bank. This will help you to understand the procedure and the problems linked to it. So research about cord blood transplants and host a webinar or a seminar on it. This information you provide may be of great help for people suffering from numerous diseases that can be treated with cord blood and can be enlightening for pregnant women. So cord blood can treat nearly 80 diseases, which has been researched. 40,000 cord blood transplants have been performed worldwide. There are 1.4 million samples in storage across the world. cord blood transplants have a 100% success rate. And cord blood is collected by cutting the umbilical cord, so it is painless to obtain. And so this month brings to light the importance of cord blood, its advantages, and how it can be utilized to eliminate several diseases. It also encourages donors to donate cord blood by emphasizing how painless the procedure is. And Cord Blood Awareness Month educates people regarding several existent diseases as well as the discoveries by science that led to the usage of cord blood as a cure. So this week is also commemorated as Corn Month. People all across the world benefit from the annual Corn Month campaign, which provides corn recipes, health information, cooking ideas, and much more. And corn is so nutritious, versatile, and delicious that it gets its own month every year to celebrate. Corn, also known as maize, is a cultigen that requires human intervention to propagate. The domestic corn we know today originated from a wild plant known as teosinte. Most historians believe corn was domesticated in the Turcon Valley of Mexico about 10,000 years ago. However, recent research indicates that the adjacent Balsas River Valley of south central Mexico is the center of corn domestication. By 4000 BC, corn cobs were already an inch long. They had evolved due to new sowing techniques after the arrival of Europeans to the region in 1492. Spanish settlers consumed corn, and explorers and traders carried it back to Europe and introduced it to other countries. So corn spread to the rest of the world because of its ability to grow in diverse climates. It was cultivated in Spain just a few decades after the Columbus voyages and then spread to Italy, West Africa, and elsewhere. The widespread cultivation of corn most likely began in southern Spain in 1525, after which it quickly spread to the rest of the Spanish Empire, including its territories in Italy. By the 17th century, corn was a common peasant food in southwestern Europe, including Portugal, Spain, southern France, and Italy. By 18th century, it was the chief food of the southern French and Italian peasantry, especially in the form of polenta in Italy. In 1950, sweet corn was developed by Professor John Lognan of the University of Illinois. Corn further rose to become one of the world's most cultivated grains. The month of October is dedicated to the essential crop, which continues to feed most of the population. According to Minnesota Senate, Oliva is the corn capital of the world. Corn and maize are simply two terms that refer to the same crop. The price shown in US dollars per bushel, the current price of a corn as on March 2022 is $7.25 per bushel. So the oldest surviving corn types are found in Mexican highlands. Antarctica is the only continent where corn is not grown. And corn is used for producing ethanol, which is first generation liquid biofuel. The maximum size of a corn kernel is supposed to be 1 inch. The first mechanical corn harvester was manufactured in 1930 by the Gleaner Harvester Combined Corporation of Independence, Missouri. So this is also an ideal time to savor popcorn, which ranges from buttery and full cream to vegan and dairy-free. Corn is packed with various vitamins and minerals. It supports a gluten-free diet and nurtures healthy bone density. It is also a decent source of lutein and zeaxanthin, which helps maintain good eye vision. Corn helped the Missouri people to survive, Mesoamerican people to survive. The cultural significance of corn seen in Mesoamerican art, myths, and rituals. As of now, corn is the most important crop in the United States and is staple food in many places. This month is also commemorated as Eggplant Month in US to celebrate the eggplant vegetable, which can come in a different sizes, shapes, and colors. Japanese eggplants are long and narrow. Indian eggplants are small and reddish purple. And some Thai eggplants are green when ripe. July happens to be the greatest month of the eggplants. If you happen to be so inclined, they are easy to grow in warm, sunny locations. Eggplants are also called as albergines and brinjals in different cultures. They were initially domesticated from the wild nightshade plant, bitter apple. There is no agreed upon place of origin for the eggplant. However, there are mentions of it originating in India, according to few sources. The first written record of the eggplant is found in Human Yoeshu, a 544 BC ancient Chinese text. Etymology and the presence of names for vegetables suggests that the plant was not common in Greece and Rome. It is believed that they were grown in the Mediterranean region in the Middle Ages. A 12th century book on agriculture by Ibn Evan already describing how to grow eggplants. The eggplant escaped British attention until 16th century, as per a 1597 English botany book written by John Surdey. This plant growth in Egypt almost everywhere, bringing forth fruity of the bigness of a great cucumber. We had the same in our London gardens, where it had borne flowers, but the winter approaching before the time of ripening, it perished. Notwithstanding, it came to bear fruit of the bigness of a goose egg, one extraordinate temperature, but never to the fullest ripeness. The eggplant has been also part of folkloric traditions. Also, according to an Italian belief, eggplants can cause insanity. While raw, the eggplant has a bitter taste. However, after being cooked, it becomes tender and has a rich taste. The vegetable is also very versatile, as it can be eaten by itself as a filling or recipes, or even as a main course in vegan cuisine. So you can eat the skin of the eggplant, but you should cut off the tip and remove the leaves. Since eggplants are very healthy and nutritious, you should always eat in moderation and pay attention to how you prepare vegetable. But the eggplant can be really great ally to weight loss. Eggplant can be eaten raw. You can eat eggplant itself raw or cooked. However, the leaves and flowers should not be eaten. So with this, we conclude today's commemoration. Thank you everyone for joining us. See you all tomorrow. Before leaving, kindly fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls. Those who have not registered for today's webinar are requested to register. The registration link has been shared in the chat box. After filling up the feedback form, you can fill up the registration form if not yet registered. And don't worry about the certificates, it will be released all at once. And also there is an international conference coming up on July 15th and 16th. That is this Saturday and Sunday. So it's all about youth development and skills development across all disciplines. If anyone is interested to present, you can register yourself and you can circulate to your friends and colleagues for presentations and participation. Free certificate will be provided to everyone, those who are completing the formalities. So thank you everyone for joining us. See you all tomorrow at 6 o'clock with the same link with different commemorations. Take care. Good night.